What's good, y'all? What's good? Let's hop right in. What is up? Here we are back with another tier ranking video. Go check out the last one. This was the skill position ranking, where we ranked the top guys, the starting running back, the wide receiver duo, and then the tight end, the top four options on the team. And we went through it. I don't think there was any disagreements in the chat, but like I said, I like to see what your thoughts are on my rankings after I do them, of course, or throwing them into my tiers. Today, I don't really have a rotation of teams I want to do, so we're just going to go straight from the top to the bottom of the teams that are in their list, or they are, like the Falcons are going to be the first team I rank. But again, let me know let me know what you all think when of course, hoping to get maybe defensive rankings here soon, defensive tier rankings, which would be a little nice to have. I think we get right into this. One moment here. All right. So there's the list of teams we go in a row. How is everyone doing today, right? Let me just... There we go. So first team to do will be the Falcons, of course. I don't think there's too much to talk about with them. They're a very young team, very up and coming, but not yet there. So in the term for them, I think, it would be right to put them in the 25 through 32 range. I think they're a year away from really stepping in to what they are going to be, where I do think that they, Desmond Ridder needs a year to show what he is and what he truly can be. I think it's going to take some time for him to really get himself established as a quarterback yet. Just same thing with the Texans. I don't believe they're going to be in the playoffs. So, like I said, the 1 through 8 and the 9 through 16 teams are the teams that I could see sneaking in. Team like the Falcons, I think, or the Texans, sorry. I'm going to put them in 17 through 24. I think they're young, but I like the group, the group that they brought in and the group that they had from last year. D'Amico Ryans, now getting Jimmy Ward. They got Shaq Mason, And if they were to go in and when we look at them and they bring in a DeAndre Hopkins, can they make the playoffs? I'm not going to put it past, any team because we've seen crazy things happen. But to me, right now, I don't view them as a team that's ready yet, right? And so it's like the Tennessee Titans are another team that there's really no direction that they're going. And I mean, it's tough to really rank them and say that they have it's really tough to just say that they're a good team because I get they got Derrick Henry, but like outside of Derrick Henry, where is the presence of talent, right? And I know maybe it seems crazy to put them in the 17 through 24, but I do not view them as a playoff team. And in fact, I would rather be the Texans than the Titans. I think the Titans got a franchise quarterback. They got pieces to work with on offense and defense, where I think their defense is going to be filled with talent because I think that they can make a run of I think they can win 6 to 8 games. They have an improvement of a coach. Sure, I don't view Lovie Smith as the problem when they had it. So New England, another team that just will not make the playoffs. They're going to be in that 17 through 24 range until they're able to establish a quarterback presence. I don't think I don't view Mac Jones as good. I don't think that they have the defense that they used to have. I actually am in the boat that the Patriots need to adapt, and they haven't done that yet. They need to adapt the ways that they draft completely. They've had now 2 horrible drafts, and I view that as 2 horrible drafts with everyone that they got there now. I don't know who's in their office with Bill making those decisions, but they're not making good decisions, and they're not really in a pack to make the playoffs. They're in a pack of they're going to be in that. They're going to be stuck in this range of like 5-12 to 8-9 for years to come, and we're going to give Bill this like push that he's still one of the best coaches, and he still is. But if they want to truly compete, there needs to be changes made with the way that they draft, with the way that they view building their team. I love the Christian Gonzalez pick. I think that they nailed that pick. Last year, I think it was Cole Strange they selected, which was very weird. But they haven't really brought in a team that is feared because Bill Belichick used to make teams that had low names still scary because they had these guys that were able to still lead. They let the veterans play the back end to their defense. And now you got Christian Gonzalez, which I really wish we would have gotten, but he's in the best system possible to go succeed. It's almost like Devon Witherspoon. Best place scenario was a team like Seattle that's known for their defense. So New York is good. They're a team that I view as, if anything, in that 9 through 16 range, they're probably 15 or 16. They have probably one of the best young tackle duos. They have a young offensive line that's up and coming. You have Saquon. They picked up Waller. They picked up Deonte Banks through the draft to improve their secondary. They got Kayvon Thibodeau. You got Andrew Thomas, of course, like I mentioned with the tackles. They're pretty nice. Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins. They got pieces to work with. You got Mastermind on the offensive side with Brian Dable. And they're a very, very young team, which it's the way to go because they were not really a great team. They were just good enough to make the playoffs, and just good enough to make the playoffs. And we'll see. I don't think that they'll. I think that I could see them being in a situation where they're like the AC about to go to the playoffs. Green Bay is such a hard team to judge. I'm going to move on to the Packers and just say this right now. They are going to be one of the worst teams, and I will include Arizona in this because I must say Arizona is going full-on tank mode. The release of Hopkins, the injury of Kyler, Budda Baker once out. They don't have talent. They might be one of the worst teams in this league that we've seen. They're worse than the Texans were last year. They're worse than the Bears were. They are. I don't think that they have a top 10 player positionally wise if they lose Budda Baker. Nobody else on that offense or defense is top 10 positionally ranked. They look like they are going to be a team that's rebuilding for years. They're going to be the team that probably gets Caleb Williams, and I must say they were the biggest winners of their that they could have had. They were the biggest winners that didn't actually draft the best pick in the first round. They were the biggest winners that didn't take the pick when they had it. Them to move down with the Texans and them to move down and let the Texans steal pick number 3, take Will Anderson while you take their next year first round pick was so smart, and I like the decision that they made in that. They made the great pick by Paris Johnson. I love it. Good pick for your future quarterback, Caleb Williams, because I don't think that they're going to keep – if they have 2 top 5 picks, there's no way they're not going to attempt to search and get rid of Kyler, because I think any team would rather have a Caleb Williams over a Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's cool, but he ain't going to come back and be the same guy that he was. I don't think he will. He might come back worse. So, no, I think Kyler and the Cardinals are possibly the worst team in the NFL. And if the Texans were to be a under 6-win team, under 5-win team, the Cardinals would come out as the biggest winners, because it's not even, and here's the thing, if they were to trade off of the number 1 pick, they would get a haul that is bigger than what the Bears got. That pick for Caleb Williams will be the most impactful pick possible. Now, if they have the number 2 pick, they're probably going to keep it, because in that sense, you're probably going Marvin Harrison. You could go Marvin Harrison at 1 even, but he's going to be a prototypical receiver for them, and he's going to help them get back to being good. Onto the Bears, your biggest moves were at linebacker, which is not an important piece to defenses as much anymore. You can have 1 good linebacker and you're set. Your biggest additions came to the middle of the defense, and then the rest of your team is pretty bad. Probably a 5-win team. 5-6-win team. They're still a good, possibly 2 years away from being a good team. Green Bay still, to me, it's tough, because I still wouldn't value them low. I think that they're a good team. I think that if Jordan Love is, if he's any good, I could see them being, with Christian Watson, Romeo Dubes. I don't know exactly any other big additions they made to that offense, but still having Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon with a solid offensive line. It looks like the way that they're going to go. you have a good defense. If those second year guys that just came out, Devontae Wyatt and these guys, they can come in and step up and help the veterans of the secondary and the defense and everything. They can get that all together. They're going to be good, but I don't know how far they go with Jordan Love because not even Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre was able to go in and, through the last 25, 30, 35 years, whatever it is, they should have over 3 Super Bowls with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, you would think. But over the last 25, 30 years with Jordan Love, with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and then to just go to a first-year full-time player now, Jordan Love, I think it's a big expectation that's going to be set on him to come in and perform. But if Jordan Love isn't to perform, then they're down there probably with the Falcons, and then they look for their future quarterback or whatever. They look for their future team. The Rams, I'm going to skip out on. It's hard to rank them right now because I got to see what we have open for the slots a little later. But the Steelers, I'm going to put them in the 9 through 16 range. I don't know, man. Something tells me they're going to be another 8 to 10 win team. They're going to be in that range. They might win 8 or 9. I know they kind of improved, but they didn't at the same time. Steeler fans like to say that Patrick Peterson was all this great. He was horrible. I don't know if you watched him, and maybe you didn't, and that's fine. But you gotta know that guy was dog shit. He was ass. He might have had those. He had some pass breakups, but he was part of the reason that Minnesota defense was horrible. He sucked. So no, you didn't improve at corner. No, you didn't improve on the defensive end outside of getting back T.J. Watt. They made some offensive pieces. They brought some offensive pieces in, but they didn't do anything defensively. So they're still an 8 to 9 win team until Kenny Pickett proves he's elite. I'm going to put them in that range. Miami, who I'm going to put them tier 1 for the moment. I'm going to figure this out, though, right? Miami is a good team. Miami is a good team. They just got Tua back for his second year. He did just come off a career year. He played pretty good. We don't know how he'll be coming off of 3 concussions in 1 year, which is pretty tough to come off of. But they brought in Xavier Howard some help to that secondary by getting in Jalen Ramsey. Their entire team, I think, really stuck together. If I'm remembering their offseason, they didn't really do anything. They didn't really lose any big pieces. They brought in Jalen Ramsey for like minimum trade value, which was kind of crazy. I think it was like a tight end and a 3rd rounder they got him for. So clearly, I think Jalen Ramsey, I think he'll come back and have a great year. Him, Javon Holland, and Xavier Howard are a great trio for that secondary. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips. They got some pass rushers. So they got a defense. Offensively, though, you got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle that is going to perform. Some are some now are saying that maybe Jalen Waddle will step into the wide receiver 1 kind of role where he gets more yards and stuff, maybe looks better than Tyreek, but I don't believe it yet. I think he's still got a ways to go. But outside that, Miami can be I think they can be an 11-win team this year if they stick to being healthy. I think if Tua's on the field more and he actually doesn't go out of games this year and he's actually able to stay healthy, they're an 11-win team most likely. But do they win their division? I don't know. Broncos are, or not Broncos, sorry, Bills. I was going to say Broncos, but I'm just going to go with the Bills. They're a tier 1 team. Josh Allen and that team's probably sticking in that same range, 10 to 12 wins. Um, One moment. But Miami's in the AFC East is pretty tough. I think Miami and Buffalo can be those tier 1 teams. Let's just go along and just move on to like the Bengals. They're a tier 1 team. The Bengals have now, still probably the best wide receiver core in this league. They got Joe Mixon, they got Irv Smith at tight end now instead of Hayden Hurst, which was a flip for flip. It wasn't really a difference maker. It's the same kind of player, kind of really. No impactful kind of move that made them better in that terms, but they did bring Orlando Brown over from the Chiefs, which I think was a loss on their end. It's kind of like the Broncos getting Mike McGlinchey. Horrible move. Mike McGlinchey is a horrible tackle, and so is Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown has been so mid on that line. It is not funny. Joe Burrow is going to get killed by that guy, but that's fine. That's whatever they chose to do. So no real move there. The Bengals are going to be probably a 12-5, 11-6. They're going to win their division most likely. Let's go to my surprise. Or let's just go right here. Let's go to the Colts. I mean, the Colts are some dog shit. I actually think like the AFC South is probably the worst division in all of football right now. It is filled with absolute dog shit. That is by far the worst division. AR is a horrible quarterback. I've been saying it from the start. The guy is so fucking terrible. It's not even funny. He sucks at awareness. His awareness sucks for one. His accuracy sucks. I mean, the guy is probably dog shit right now. But, Shane Steichen, if he works out as a head coach, could be okay. Could make AR look better, but Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman's your duo. That's all you got on offense. Big Q is ass right now. I mean, that offensive line was horrible. It was abysmal. The defense was trash. The team was horrible. They lost Stephon Gilmore this offseason. They didn't make any big additions, so they might be a tier 4 team. They might be. I don't have anything good to say about the Colts. They've been filled with getting different quarterbacks every year, which has made no sense. You would think you would want some type of stability over there, but they don't know what that is. You ask them, and they don't know. Jim Irsay, probably one of the worst owners in football, continues to just push this team into the ground because they are filled with mid. I think the Texans are going to be a few years away. The Titans, they need a rebuild. Mike Vrabel probably needs to get his shit together because nothing's changed. You brought Rand Carthon in and you downgraded on the team. Mike Vrabel, how the fuck is he supposed to work with what he's got? And then the Colts, again, probably as worse as anything. They might be as bad as the Cardinals this year in terms of what they have. The Bucks are going to be a shit show. The Bucks are going to be a shit show. No way to put it around. Baker Mayfield is trash. Kyle Trask is trash. They don't have a run game. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a defense. That defensive line, Todd Bowles and all them ain't smart. They're not smart enough to get you anywhere. Tom Brady made that roster better, and with no Tom Brady, the Bucs are done. There's zero chance that they win anything. Like, Mike Evans should be shipped off. Chris Godwin should be shipped off. That team should be rebuilt. They're another team that probably needs to rebuild the roster, revamp the coaching, and get rid of their coaches because they suck. The defense has probably quite a few moves to make. Let's just get one out of the way. Let's get San Fran out of the way. They are a tier 1 team, and they might be the best team in the NFL. They only got better. They haven't really lost any big pieces. I mean, they went and brought in the best D tackle in free agency. They improved, and they could have been a team, and they could be a team that still goes out and brings in a piece or two, like a DB and Marcus Peters would be a great fit for corner 2 on their team. But, I mean, there's not much to say about the 49ers, but that's only a good thing for them because I think that they are an amazing roster. I think the San Francisco 49ers as a roster have the best roster in football. It's up there in terms of what they got. And then, so these are currently the 4 best teams so far that I've ranked. I could even just, if I was to rank these in order, I'd probably go more like this. To just put those rosters together, I think it's, but LA Rams right now are another team that is probably looking to rebuild. They're not in a winning team. They're not a winning team right now. Sean McVay is a good coach. He's talked about retiring coaching. Aaron Donald's talked about retiring. So, those are possible factors into happening within the next few years. But they're also right now not set up. Like, their defense is atrocious. They don't have any good players on their defense. Outside of Aaron Donald, they lost Bobby Wagner. They lost Jalen Ramsey, which made no sense. Those are your 2 best other defenders, and you had no talent before, but you also don't have picks. So they were atrocious, and they have nothing to gain off of it. And Sean McVay is only a good coach if you have a good roster. He's not a Mike Vrabel where he can work with a bad roster. Sean McVay is an atrocious coach when it comes to having a bad lineup. Mike Vrabel, when he had nothing to work with, he was still able to pull a good defense together and win games. Sean McVay isn't doing nothing with this badass roster. Cooper Kupp, if he gets hurt again, you're screwed. You don't got a second weapon. They've thrown so much money at this mid-ass team. Instead of having money, they threw it all away. They won 1 Super Bowl. That's not how that works, though. The teams that have always consistently kept up with being good are the teams that didn't sell their future for nothing. And that's what they did. They sold it for a Super Bowl and then to be mid for the rest of nothing. So they, another team that just needs to revamp, retool. Seattle's going to come back and be better than ever. I think that they're a team that absolutely is probably a legit quarterback away from competing. Pete Carroll looks like one of the best coaches in the game. He's better than anyone that's in that tier 2 with him. Mike Tomlin and him are close, but I would take Pete Carroll. And And then, I think Pete Carroll's proven that he's one of the best defensive minds in football. And I think that he also proved to us he was the reason for Russ looking better than he was. Russ is not a good quarterback. It was because of Pete Carroll. I think that's what Pete Carroll proved to us in that first year. I'm not, I'm going to go into it and just say it right now. Broncos are a mid-ass team. I think Pete Carroll proved this to everyone. The Broncos don't have a quarterback, and they overpaid for one. So cheers on them for sucking dick and being like that. But they got a good defense, but their offense is filled with nobodies and players that are mid or worse. Sean Payton could try to save him, but again, it's going to take up to year 2 and 3 for him to get a real roster of receivers, as Jerry Jeudy is still that same old mid-ass wide receiver. And then you go on to Courtland Sutton, mid. Nothing to really be excited about. Javonte Williams coming off an ACL will not be good. I don't care what anyone tells you. Running backs coming off ACLs have not and will not produce in their first year back. It's taken up to year 2 and 3. Like I said, they're going to be good down the road maybe, but that's if they can ever get their shit together. Lions are got to go tier 2. I got to go tier 2. I think that they are even in the possibility of everything. I think the Lions can be better than Green Bay. I think that they win their division. Green Bay I could knock down, but Green Bay is just a tough one because it's really relying on the potential of what Jordan Love can be. I feel like there's just some reason that Jordan Love is going to be this good quarterback right off the bat. The Lions' potential to win their division, I think, is a little higher than people are going to put it. I think the Lions and Seahawks are two teams that could sneak into the playoffs. I think they're both better teams than the Giants, again, because I think the Giants also overpaid for their quarterback. The Lions have a better quarterback, and I think Geno is probably about the same area as Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is very mid. He's just in the middle section of quarterbacks. He sucks, though. He sucks. If he doesn't actually have, which he hasn't really had true wide receiver one, but he's had a great offensive line. He's had a great running back with him. And I think he's had a good set of receivers at times, but that's if they would have worked out. Daniel Jones, even when he's had to do the good things, like if he had to make a throw that is 30 yards on the field, he's passed that up multiple times and it shows on film. Daniel Jones is what he is. And what he is he'll make a play for 10 to 15 yards. Nothing more than that. He hasn't given us a deep ball that's 35, 40 yards. He hasn't been able to do that. He never has been, and he never will be. I think at this point, when you've gone through, all these years, and then last year when you were with a true genius play caller, you still were not good for what you should have done. You should have been better, and you were not. And I think he holds that team back. I think if I had to rank the middle section right now, I'm putting them at the back because Daniel Jones holds them back. Saquon might not even want to be there anymore, and then Darren Waller is there for 5 to 6 games. Panthers are a better team than the Giants too. I'll put them in somewhat of a row. Carolina, with Bryce Young and the nice young core that they got building there, and Frank Reich now got his quarterback. He's got I would say a pretty okay receiving core. But yeah, they got a great defense there, though. Derek Brown, excuse me, Jesus. Oh, man. J.C. Horn. You got, my God, I'm blanking on the linebacker for them. Frankie Louvu, maybe? I think that's who just came off for career year. I heard the guy's name once or twice. If I was to go look up the Panthers depth chart, I'm going to remember his name right off bat. They got some great pieces on offense. I like what they got with Terrace Marshall, DJ Chark, Thielen, and Laviska Shenault's going to be used in a Debo type way. Sorry, but yeah, Derek Brown's over there with Shaq Thompson and Frankie Louvu. I think it was the guy that broke out for them. Brian Burns is there, of course, with J.C. Horn in that secondary, but Jerry Chin is who I was referencing, but he's a nickel corner now, apparently. I thought he was their safety, but they got a young defense. They got a young offense. They'll be there. They might win. They might win their division. The Panthers could win their division. The Raiders, I want to say they're in the tier with the Giants. I think that they improved as a roster. We got one of the best skill position sets in the league. And as I mentioned on my last video, it's a top 3 skill set in the league. Josh Jacobs and Devontae is the best running back and wide receiver duo in the league. The offensive line is top 10 in the league. No debate there. They were just top 10, and they just improved a shit ton during the offseason. And, of course, we have the best O-line coach in the league. Adding Tyree Wilson to this and having Nate Hobbs, who I think does have a breakout year in this system. I think he can perform pretty well. Tyler Hall is in for a breakout year too. Divine Diablo possibly comes back and plays at a higher level too, since he just missed all that time. But Trayvon Merrick is another guy that could definitely Trayvon Merrick is another guy that could break out. I think if Trayvon Merrick and him, Nate Hobbs break out on that back end, that's a nice thing to see. But, Max Crosby, top 5 edge rusher in this league, not even a debate there too. He's produced like one. You can't really debate if there's stats there to prove that. But then you have, of course, the team, led by, Josh McDaniels, one of the best offensive coordinators in the league history. He's known to winning, and this team that we had last year, and the fact that we didn't win with it wasn't because of Josh McDaniels. It was because of Patrick Graham and his inability to get a defense to stop the other team from scoring so often. But he revamped. I think the Raiders, with their schedule, can easily win 9 to 11 games. And I don't think there's anything to really say that we can't. Jacksonville is it's tough. I got to put Kansas City tier 1. I think Kansas City, of course, was one of the best teams in the league last year. And so one moment here. I actually want to do one thing, right? I'm going to put the Eagles in there too because I think those two teams should be there. I think that those are easy decisions to make. Um, between these teams down there, we have. I think I should go back and move the Packers down because I don't think I should have. The way I dealt with the Packers was I said if Jordan Love shows up and plays, but I did the same thing for the Falcons, though. I said if their young core was to step up, they'd be better too. So putting them lower does make sense for this. Um, we need two more tier one teams, and I'm not looking and saying I don't know any of these teams. I'm saying they're tier one. The Vikings, of course, can be tier one. Um, the Jets, I don't feel like the Jets are going to be I don't know. I feel like they're going to start out slow. And I just don't think they're going to be, a 12, 13 win team like I've heard some people say that they will be. They're tough. But Garrett Wilson's nice. I think they have a nice offense there. They have a great defense, so it's tough to say how the team goes. Jacksonville. Jacksonville. What do I think about them? I think that they can be tier two. I'm going to move down. I don't like the Giants a lot. I don't. I don't think they're that great. Washington's another tough one. I just don't think Sam Howell and them are winning. Like Ron Rivera holds that team back. It's tough. It is absolutely tough to rank these teams because some of the teams probably deserve to be higher. Some teams deserve to be lower. It's tough because you got to find. I guess let's get tier one out of the way. I do see San Fran being. Okay, we're gonna. I like Kansas City in there because I think that that's what they deserve. Cincinnati, of course. Philadelphia, I agree with. Buffalo, San Fran, of course. Miami, of course. So those are the first six teams. I don't think there's any disagreements with that. Unless there is, but what teams on the bottom end would you put into the top eight? Would we do Baltimore? Can we say Baltimore if they're healthy? I mean, if they're healthy, they could be a top eight team. Lamar, J.K., Mark Andrews, OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. They still have a good defense. They're still coached well. Chargers. I don't feel the Chargers are better than the Raiders. But of course, this ranking that doesn't matter. It's not in order. It's not in order, of course. Tier 2 and 1 both need one more team. Is Tier 3 set, though? Like, man. Definitely like Jacksonville in Tier 2. Seattle. I just want to pull the teams to the front that I'm verifying. So the teams I'm going to verify are going to be in the front, of course. Detroit, of course, is in there. I think Detroit. I What does Detroit's schedule look like? Anyone know? Oh man, is I'm gonna put the Colts down there, and I don't think that's crazy. This could be set. I almost forgot about Cleveland. Cleveland's not tier one team. I think I could move. Washington's going to be bad. I think you could pull Cleveland into tier two and say that's tier two. I mean, for some reason, Dallas would probably be better. Saints aren't going to be tier four, but I'll throw them right there for the moment. I think the Saints are most definitely better than the Giants, but I also don't feel like the Patriots are going to be that good this year. I don't view the Patriots being that good this year. Is that crazy to say? None of this is in order, by the way. I'm saying, like, to me, it would be tougher to throw them in. I feel like Dallas is just going to win a bunch of regular season games. And, of course, be a first round exit. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be a first round exit. Does not matter to me. But I feel like the true contenders of everything right now in the NFL are the 49ers, Bengals, Chiefs, Eagles, and you could throw the Dolphins in there if they compete at a high level. Dallas, of course, will never be, a true contender because they wouldn't know what that is either. But I feel like this is how the tier rankings have to go. I feel the Raiders, and I just feel like there's so much potential for the teams that are in tier three. It's tough. Like Panthers are solely based off of their rookie coach for their new team, rookie quarterback, very young offense. They have a lot. They have a ways to go, but they are going to probably win their division. As I think that they're the best team in their division. I think it's a shit show over there. NFC West is about to be a shit show. Falcons are riding off potential. Tennessee needs a whole year to just stop. They need to stop. They need to get rid of Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, start Will Levis, and just rebuild. Texans are already kind of rebuilding, but they've rebuilt their roster pretty well. Minnesota went really young, so they're going to be writing off a ton of potential too. Kirk can't win in the big moments anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then beyond that, I don't really think too much is going to be talking about that. But the Jets, they'll be improved. Green Bay, I just want to let people know again, it's writing off this Jordan Love's potential. Now, if he performs, they're a tier two team probably. Again, also Matt LaFleur isn't really a great coach. He's had his moments of looking good, man. Moments of looking pretty bad. So, I think the Raiders are going to be a 9-11 win team this year. Cleveland is, again, they're going to be riding off the potential that Deshaun Watson. Rebuild the Raiders. They already rebuilt. If you knew what a rebuild was, you wouldn't even be saying that because we already rebuilt. We already rebuilt the roster for the guys in McDaniels and Graham. They got their guys that they like. They did pretty good. I think that they're in for a big surprise. I think I'm trying to think. What team in the NFL do you guys think is going to be the biggest surprise? What team is going to surprise people? What team is expected to be bad but will be good? And by the way, none of this tier ranking is in order. It's not in order of the teams 1 through 8. So the team that I think that can surprise people on this tier ranking would probably be Carolina, because they can be a tier 2. They can be if their potential adds up pretty well. Texans could be good. Could the Texans be good? Maybe. I know they're in kind of a bad conference, or division, so I could see them being good. Minnesota, they're young. They have talent. I'm not going to say they don't. They have a ways to go. Who's starting for the Vikings in their secondary? Who's their corners? I don't know any of their corners. They don't have Patrick Pearson. They lost Duke Shelley. Did they still have Harrison Smith, or did he retire? I should probably look at that. Just make sure. I don't think they have a good team in their center. Vikings are pretty dog shit in their secondary. Dog shit. It's not even funny. They are dog shit. Oh man, let's see here. They have Andrew Booth, Byron Murphy, Caleb Williams, Cameron Bynum. They're not even starting Lewis Sin yet. Oh man, they're making mistakes. Yeah, their team is trash. Oh my god, they have too many rookies. And none of their D line is that good. Daniel Hunter's regressed. Marcus Davenport's mid. Brian Asamoah is trash. Jordan Hicks not done nothing yet. They have a very young roster. I did not realize that. Harrison Smith's like their only left veteran. Kirk Cousins needs to go. Dalvin Cook could also be released, so I wouldn't rely on Alexander Madison to do nothing for you. Yeah, I agree with this ranking, and you guys can like, comment, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm heading out.